Hey guys, welcome back to Bariatric Confessions podcast with your girl Zipporah. So today I want to talk about the 5K diabetes walk that me and my husband and my two kids did a couple weeks ago. So we did the Step Out Walk to Stop Diabetes in Philly a couple weekends ago, and we took our two older children, 10. My oldest daughter is 10. My son is 8 years old, and we did this because I signed us up because I always wanted to do this walk. I wanted to do it a few years ago, way before I had weight loss surgery, but I was big. I wasn't walking at all. Like, I don't even know if I was working out. But anyway, so I signed up, and then my husband told me to register him, and then he was like, "We should take our two children," because I did it because my dad had diabetes. He had type 2 diabetes, and he had it for like 30 something years, and it ultimately took his life. And it started, chipping away at his body, like his feet, his eyesight, and just his overall health. And so to me, to do this was important because I was pre-diabetic, and I don't want diabetes. I know nobody wants diabetes, but no, like, I do not want it at all. I don't even want it, like, knocking on my door, like, leave me alone, go away, like, we not friends. Because like, I had to watch my dad. So like, he got it like in 1980. I was born in 79. So he was diagnosed with it in 1980. So who knows how long he was living with it before then. But so he had it my entire life. And he died when I was like 32 or 33. So he had it my entire life. So I literally watched him go be, this to the 6'3", 6'4", 300 something pound giant, to this really weak and frail man. And that's what happened. He just started withering away. So anyway, so for me, it was important to do this walk because I just felt like because I can now, like, I made the choice to have bariatric surgery for my health, for health reasons. And because I can, I want to prevent my kids, myself, and my husband, as much as possible, prevent all of us from getting diabetes. And even my brothers and my sisters and my mom, just showing that, living a healthier lifestyle is really, really important. Just so you can live longer. My dad died, he was 67. So, and he definitely could have lived a lot longer if he would have taken his health a little more seriously, and tried to manage the diabetes. But he was addicted to food for whatever reason, and not dealing with that ultimately led to his death. But we did the walk, and we completed the walk, 3.2 miles, right? 5K, and under an hour, like 56 or 57 minutes, which is amazing because last year I have a picture of, because I use the Nike app, and I have a picture of a screenshot of my results from just walking around the neighborhood. And it took me 45 minutes to do a mile and a half. It was either a mile or a mile and a half. I'm pretty sure it was a mile and a half. And this was after weight loss surgery. So I had surgery July 2021. So you're talking about October or November of 2021. So I still was, big, but I just couldn't walk. I couldn't move, So like we did the walk and we ran a little bit and we walked, and it was a 5K walk, but we ran because a little bit of jogging because because we can, but also because we wanted to complete it in a certain amount of time. So anyway, at some point, my oldest daughter, she just like, it wasn't even 15 minutes into the walk. She just started having all these problems. Oh, my leg, my back, my brain, my arm, my finger, my big toe on my right foot. Like she just had so many problems. And it got to the point, or problems, quote unquote problems. And it got to the point where we were probably about a mile, before we crossed the finish line. And she was like nowhere in sight. So we had to stop and we had to go back. My husband he ran back to go get her. And, she comes up to the front and, she, with me, and I told her to stay with me. And she's like, oh, I don't even remember what her complaints were. She's like, oh, my whatever is hurting me. And I'm like, you have to finish this. And I said, why? They had everybody write on this, this really long board. And it says, I walk because. And or why I walk, I think that's what it said. And she walked. She wrote on there. She chose to write on there. I wrote on there, and she chose to write on there for her Pop Jack, who she never met. I was pregnant with her. I was like 5 months pregnant with her when he died. So she actually never met him. But I talk about my dad, and I tell them why he died and all this other stuff. And, she actually wrote that on there with a big, heart around it. So she understands, or she understood why we were doing this. So, I said to her, I was like, who are you doing this for? I said, I'm talking to her, trying to encourage her. And I'm like, you stay up here with me. You walk with me. We walk together because we are going to cross this finish line as a family together. Nobody's going to get left behind. And, she would, end up dipping back a little bit, and I'm like, no, Zoe, come up here, get up here. And, she ended up, after like, it felt like forever, maybe 5 or 10 minutes of just, constantly talking to her and basically telling her to get out her head. And I'm just like, you have to realize that, the reason why you're doing this, and then use that as motivation to push you to finish. And I said, and I'm not saying I'm right with the stuff, but, I don't want to raise a bunch of quitters, like I don't want my kids to say, oh, this is too difficult, so I'm just going to quit. That's not the solution. So that's what I kept thinking as we were walking, she don't finish this, like this is hard. So no, I'll just stop, or, I'll just have mom and dad come and get me because it's too hard. And I'm like, that's not the way to live. Like you have to push yourself sometimes in life to finish things that are uncomfortable. It's, and I'm like, you're 10 years old. You're just walking. So, you can walk without, the whining and the complaining and stuff like that. I said, put in your headphones, put both, she only had one earbud in her ear. I said, put both of them in and zone out. Do what that's what I did. I think I was yelling without knowing I was yelling because I had my AirPods in. And people kept like turning around looking, and I'm like, well, in my head, I'm just like, mind your business, because I'm talking to my daughter. But after the fact, I think I was like loud unintentionally, because I have the noise canceling headphones. I couldn't hear nothing. I didn't want to stop my music, and I didn't want to take my earbuds out because I was I was walking. I'm in the zone. And ultimately, before we got to about half a mile before we got to the finish line, she was fine. Her and my son actually ran. They left me and my husband. They actually ran and finished a couple like seconds or whatever before us. So yeah, but like I just felt like, it's important to complete what you start. It's very important to complete what you start. Like you say you're going to do something, you put your you put your word out there, and then you might have like obstacles and struggles and all this other stuff, but I just think I think it's important to finish, to be a finisher. You're going to start it, you're going to, and then finish it too, because I'm that way, like in a sense of like, not finishing everything, not having follow through. That's where my lack of consistency comes from too. Like I'll start something and I'll be excited, but consistently going through, that middle part, Like I don't like the middle part. So sometimes I don't make it to the end of things because I don't have that consistency. And I'm just trying to, like, give my kids a better mindset. So that way they can be successful in life, in whatever they do. Just like my son, he plays football, and initially he wanted to quit. And I said, no, player, we don't quit. We don't quit. We don't quit. You're not injured. That's it. Like, you're not injured. There's no need to quit. And I just feel like letting them quit, just because they don't feel like doing it anymore, or mainly because it becomes too difficult. I feel like that's setting them up for failure. Like, I don't want them to be quitters. I don't want them to say, oh, it's too hard, I quit. Like, I feel like on my, when I was trying all these diets, like, it's the middle. I started and I'm cool, and you get to the middle and I stop. And, like, just think, if I actually continued with anything that was in the middle, if I continued through the middle, work through the hard parts, then I probably would have lost the weight a long time ago. But my thing is consistency. I lack consistency in a lot of things. And I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. But like, me trying to show my kids or teach them better, I'm trying to show them how to be consistent in these, like, childhood things, so that way they can be successful later on. So back to my daughter, I said, I'm like, remember your why, and keep that in your head. Keep that in your head as to why you said you said you wanted to do this. First, they didn't have a choice, but like when we got there, she wrote on the board, why I walk. She wrote on that board herself. I didn't tell her to do it. I didn't tell her what to say. They knew the reason why we were doing this, and she chose to write it. So, like, I'm like, you're just in your head about everything, 'cause, like, it was like not even 15 minutes, and she's like, oh God, I'm hot and I got to take off all my jackets, and I'm just like, it's just, these are just obstacles to try to get you to stop. That's all they are. They're obstacles to try to get you to stop, to give you a reason to stop. We don't stop. We don't stop. So, like, you have to navigate through the middle. You have to navigate through the middle. Like, don't be like me, but like, oh, I'll come back to it. Sometimes it takes me months to come back to things. And that's because I totally overthink it. And then, like I just make it a bigger problem or whatever than it really is. And you won't get anywhere. You won't get anywhere. So she finished it. Like I said, her and her brother actually left me and my husband and ran. And we were, me and my husband, we ran, and, we were right behind them. But they're going to say, oh, what took you so long? When we got to the finish line. But I hope that these little moments are teaching her how to be true to herself. Like, that's so important, to be true to yourself, to be honest with yourself. And even though things might get difficult, if you work through it, sometimes, like, the best feeling is at the end, because you actually worked through it.